game on Sunday that will determine so much, including just how entertained we are by Thanksgiving and everything else with the Cowboys. Bart, you're my resident defensive guru here. So one of two things happened on Monday night. Either this new-look Cowboy defense with the new faces, the players they acquired, the players they got back healthy, is much better. Or the Raiders are so bad that we can't take anything from it. Which is it?
Both can be true.
Okay.
You know, and one absolutely is.
I tell you what, when you talk about securing the interior part of this defensive line, you talk about Quinnen and Kenny Clark. You know, you got interior pressure where guys can't step up. Like, people forget just how dominant a player Quinnen is. Not only is he dominant against the run, but he's a guy that gives you pass rush from the inside. A couple of years ago, he had 12 sacks. He just didn't have anybody next to him. But now that also makes him a plus multiplier. Look at that. Where are you going to step up from? And you talk about on the outside with Clowney, you talk about Fowler as well. This is a recipe for success because now you have an adult behind you manning the coverage and Logan Wilson that can control sideline to sideline, but also get guys lined up and be able to be responsible in the pass game. If Bland can step up and just give you a little bit of defense, then that gives you impact players at every level. And with this offense that the Cowboys have, you're going to be able to pin your ears back and be able to rush the passer.
So that's the flip side of it. The Eagles' defense we know is great.
Yep.
And they have held in consecutive weeks Green Bay and Detroit, good offensive teams, to basically nothing. Do Dak and CD and Pickens and them, can they put up points against this Eagles defense?
Oh, yeah, because we know if I'm Dallas, I'm getting into my 3 wide receiver sets, and I'm finding somebody who's not Quinyon Mitchell or Cooper
Adoree
DeJean.
Jackson.
I'm finding them. Yeah, I'm going to continuously hunt that matchup.
Let's be clear what we're talking. We're talking about the Eagles will have a weak spot in their secondary, and the Cowboys might be able to take advantage of it.
Absolutely. They did in week 1. They just didn't catch the football, and it's not really changed now. The pass rush with the addition of Jalen Phillips has gone up, but if you're Dallas and you have multiple receivers and a tight end that can continue to create matchup problems, you're just searching that person out, and it's trying to find them and trying to find different ways to get them the football. I guys talked yesterday, because here's the thing that Dallas is doing. George on one side, CD on the other. So if you want to take Quinyon and put him over there versus Pickens, God bless you. Cool, I don't need to throw it to him. Now I have CeeDee Lamb opposite him. Is it Cooper? Is it Adoree Jackson? I'm just searching where Adoree Jackson is and continuing to try to find completions that way.
I'm not breaking news here when I tell you that the Dallas offense can score a ton of points, whoever's on defense. And they had a ton of yards against the Eagles in week 1. The issue is going to be with this Eagles team, if the pot is right now like sizzling right now, what if they actually lose this game to Dallas? Everything feels like, okay, there's so much drama, but we win. There's so much strife, but we win. If the Cowboys take care of business and beat the Eagles, like, that's when the dysfunction part starts really building. It's like, okay, it was one thing when we were winning, but now if our defense can't bail us out and Dallas's offense puts all these yards on us, now we're looking in the mirror and saying, now what? We still have half a season left to go.
So I agree with that. They'll be fine. But here's what has to happen for Philly in this game. This game will come down to Philly's offense and Jalen Hurts, okay? Philadelphia philosophically has to say, Jalen, it's your season. Last year, it was Saquon's year. Hey, last year, they rode Saquon. They have to ride Jalen Hurts.
Have you seen any indication in the first 12 weeks of the season that anyone on that Philly offensive coaching staff wants to put the ball in Jalen's hand and say, Jalen, it's your season?
No, but I'm telling you guys right now, Kevin Patullo, Nick Sirianni, you have to put the ball in Jalen's hands on early downs. This isn't the Saquon-led offense. This is not the same run game that on first down last year you can hand it off and get 7 yards. You have to throw the ball on first down. If Philly wants to win this game, you throw the ball on first down. The Cowboys are going to line up in the same coverage on first down every single play if you're running the same stuff. They have to turn the thought process over to, we are going to be a Jalen Hurts-led offense, not a Saquon-led offense.
See, this is a fascinating conversation, so I turn to my wide receiver. And I say there probably isn't a game you could have in the NFL where you would have better wide receiver matchup. You got, on one side, you got Pickens and Lamb, and they're flying high. Yeah. On the other side, you've got Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, and it says on our screen they are 28th in passing in the NFL. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. What do you expect Sunday?
It doesn't make sense, but I will say this. I think the Dallas Cowboys offense, they're going to be so ferocious that it puts that much pressure on Jalen Hurts and that offense to have to score.
And can they do it? Will they do it?
I don't think so. I don't think so right now. I really don't.
You think if the game goes in the hands of Jalen Hurts, the way Dan is saying, put it in his hands, you think that works against the Eagles' best advantage?
I do, because you're asking him to do something that he's not accustomed to doing on a consistent basis.
What?
Like, throw the football over the middle of the football field, be consistent in making plays. And every one of their wins, how many blowout wins does Philadelphia have this season?
Very few.
They only put up 16 points last week.
But they did beat Minnesota through the air, and that was a very good pass defense. And the game plan that game was Jalen Hurts, you take us, and he threw for 340.
I'm just
And
telling
it was
you,
the one game all
they can
year.
do
You're
it.
right. It was the outlier.
They can do it.
I'm telling you guys, if you put if you put 2 tight ends on the field, Philadelphia, on first down, and you run play action, Dallas will line up in the same coverage all the time, and you will gut them. The Raiders did it last week.
but
the Raiders did it. They just didn't do it enough.
But here's the thing. Without the threat of Saquon Barkley, I don't care about your play action if I'm a linebacker. If I'm Logan Wilson, I don't care. I'm not buying up to that because I believe my defensive tackles, can handle that because they're 1.5 men.
You mean to tell me you're not scared of Saquon Barkley on first down?
No, hell no.
We're going to find out 2 things.
Wait, who is Saquon?
He hasn't been
This year.
himself this year. But Dan is dismayed. So what we're going to find out 2 things. We're going to find out, is that Cowboy defense really much better? And if the Eagles are forced to throw it, can they do it?
No Lane Johnson is.
This is Cowboys Nation Report, and today we bring one of the most crucial updates of the season, a moment where every storyline, every statistic, every adjustment, and every ounce of pressure converges into a single showdown. The Dallas Cowboys enter the week facing the Philadelphia Eagles once again, but this time the stakes are not just high, they are defining. A loss could cripple the season. A win could resurrect the Cowboys' entire trajectory. The tone inside the building in Frisco has changed. The players feel it, the staff feels it, and more importantly, Dak Prescott made it clear. This is not a regular season game. This is a playoff atmosphere, a win-or-go-home mindset, a survival test crafted specifically for this Dallas team. Dak stated openly that every game from here on must be treated as must-win, but this one, against Philadelphia, sets the tone for everything that follows. The Eagles may be ahead in the standings, but Dallas has crafted something new, something entirely recalibrated since the last time these teams met. What the Cowboys showed on Monday night was not an illusion. Yes, the Raiders are a broken football team, but the truth is, the Cowboys showcased a new version of their defense, a unit rebuilt from the inside out. You could see it immediately. The interior pressure changed. Quinnen Williams, finally paired with legitimate help, looked like the most disruptive lineman in the NFL again. Kenny Clark forced quarterbacks out of rhythm, while the edges collapsed around them, with Jadeveon Clowney and Fowler setting a completely different tone. Add Logan Wilson behind them, an upgraded general of the second level, controlling spacing, tracking down routes, adjusting the coverage, and Dallas suddenly has impact players at every layer of the defense. This is not the same defense Philadelphia saw in Week 1. And this is critical, because the Eagles' offense has not been the same. They were held down by Green Bay. They were shut down by Detroit. The struggles are real. Meanwhile, Dallas brings an offense that is transformed into one of the most dangerous units in the league. Prescott is playing some of the best football of his career, pacing the NFL in QBR. CeeDee Lamb is carving up defenses in every sector of the field. George Pickens has bounced into stardom with performances that show why the Cowboys targeted him so aggressively. Together, they are one of the most lethal receiving duos in the game. The Eagles' defense is great, but it is not flawless. There is a weak spot in the secondary, and Dallas is coming for it. Week 1 proved the formula works. Dallas won its matchups, but failed to convert on critical catches. That is not the case anymore. The Cowboys now place Pickens on one side and Lamb on the opposite end, forcing the Eagles to choose. Cover Pickens with Quinion Mitchell and leave Lamb one-on-one, or flip the coverage and give Prescott a mismatch on Pickens. Either way, Dallas believes they have an advantage. The national analysts have begun to recognize this. On ESPN, the conversation shifted dramatically. What once sounded like praise for Philadelphia's defensive dominance has now turned into real concerns. Experts openly acknowledge that if the Cowboys win this game, the Eagles' internal issues may spill into chaos. Their structure has already shown cracks. Victory has been covering up the inconsistencies. But if Dallas walks into this game and applies pressure early, the Eagles will have to turn the ball over to Jalen Hurts and tell him to win through the air. And that is exactly the scenario the Cowboys want. Because the truth is simple. When the Cowboys' offense scores early, it forces the opponent to abandon the run game. That means more predictable looks, more dropbacks, more forced throws. And when that happens, the Cowboys' front four becomes a weapon of destruction. Quinion Williams and Kenny Clark collapse pockets. Clowney forces quarterbacks into awkward angles. Fowler closes from the backside, and Logan Wilson cleans up everything underneath. What makes this matchup fascinating is that even analysts who normally discredit Dallas are changing their stance. They know what this game means. They know the Cowboys' offense can put up numbers even against elite defenses, and they know Philadelphia cannot afford to enter a high-scoring battle without fully trusting Jalen Hurts to command the game. The Cowboys' offense is top 3 in scoring, top 3 in passing, top 3 in total yards. It doesn't matter what defense stands in front of them. Prescott will move the ball. Lamb will find gaps. Pickens will win contested catches, and the tight ends will exploit middle-of-the-field matchups that hurt Philadelphia earlier this season. For the first time in months, the Cowboys walk into a game with both sides of the ball finally aligned with purpose. But here's where the story gets deeper for Cowboys Nation. This is not just a stat-driven matchup. This is not just a divisional rivalry. This is not just another chapter in the long-running war between Dallas and Philadelphia. This is a test of identity, a test of resilience, a test of whether this team, after surviving drama, criticism, trades, injuries, emotional setbacks, and internal rebuilding, can stand tall when everything is on the line. If Dallas wins, the NFC East suddenly becomes a battlefield again. The Cowboys will have momentum, belief, leverage, and national attention. The media will have no choice but to respect what this team has become, and the league will be forced to acknowledge that the Cowboys are transforming at the exact right moment. If they lose, the path narrows to razor-thin margins. The playoff window doesn't close entirely, but the momentum evaporates, the narrative shifts, the questions grow louder. Everyone knows what is at stake. And this is why the players themselves approach this game differently. Dak spoke with authority. CeeDee Lamb referenced the playoffs. The defensive players echoed urgency. Even the coaching staff, without saying it directly, tightened the tone of preparation. This is not just another week. This is the week. This is the game where the Dallas Cowboys decide who they are for the rest of the season. And Cowboys Nation, we want to hear from you. Do you believe this team is ready to take down the Eagles? Do you believe Dak Prescott is about to deliver one of the biggest statement games of his career? Do you believe this defense has finally become the machine Dallas has been waiting for? Share your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button to support the channel. Subscribe to Cowboys Nation Report for full coverage, reaction, analysis, and every update from the heart of Cowboys football. Because this Sunday, everything changes, and we will be right here to cover it.